welcome to this FPL Experts 5 top tips for success for the Fantasy Premier League 2024-25 season. The Expert Series is back, hoping to build on that top 10k finish we managed last season. Help me get this video to 500 likes and subscribe to the channel. I'm wanting 35 subs by game week 1. Let's get into it. So I've asked my panel of experts for their top tip for success, and there was 2 really big themes running through it, with 1/3 of the experts referencing patience as being key to success. I particularly liked this response from FPL Black Wolf, who's a big Wolves fan. He's called Dan. He managed the top 13k finish last season, so he's a manager that definitely knows his stuff. And he said, patience is key. Choose players based on well-informed decisions and back those decisions even if the outcome doesn't work out to begin with. FPL is a long season. Losing patience can quickly lead to knee-jerk transfers that can in turn lead to hits and suboptimal strategy. Things you really want to avoid. Of course, there is a threshold though. If you have an asset who is consistently not performing for multiple weeks, there is no need to be stubborn. Just make sure that when you transfer the asset out, it fits into your overall plan and strategy. Now, I feel like this season, the patience in FPL is going to be even more important because the FA have completely changed how the fixtures are scheduled around the FA Cup, which means less blank game weeks and double game weeks towards the end of the season. So we'll see that we're holding players for longer, accruing value in those players as well. And if we're bringing in players for the right reason because they've got good underlying numbers and good fixtures, then at some point those players are going to come good, and we're going to be seeing a lot less transfers overall in the game because there's less opportunity to make up ground with the blanks and doubles towards the end of the season. The second big takeaway from the experts' advice was flexibility. Again, 1/3 of the experts mentioned this in their responses. And I've been a bit biased here. I've picked out my TV husband, Gianni Buttici, because he came in with a great response. He says, if you have a strategy, don't think that you can't break it. Be flexible. And this is so key because so many managers think, well, I've decided that I want to bring in this player on this week. And then even when there's red flags saying this isn't the right move to make, there's tunnel vision on that strategy. And that's not the right way to be in FPL. Football is very difficult to predict. There are a lot of variables in play and things do change, and we have to be adaptable to that. Now, one thing I found from running the experts team last season with being flexible is that it definitely helps to have some money in the bank at the start of the season. That expert side finished 9.8k. It started the season, with 2.5 million in the bank. It's a strategy that I advocate a lot, very rarely stick to because it's always too tempting to spend all the money. And while your game week 1 team might look great, being able to transition to different players and jump on board those bandwagons early is something that you can't do if you're too inflexible because you've not got any money in the bank. Tip number 3 then, this came out from about 17% of the experts' responses, is to do with the decision making we make in FPL. And FPL Pricey, Sam is a Saints fan, you should check out his YouTube channel as well, came up with this great piece of advice. He said, use a scientific proof method to decision making. Determine your hypothesis, a transfer choice, captaincy at the start of each week and assess whether anything has disproven this hypothesis on the information you are able to collect during the week before locking the moves in. Now, this again is something that the experts team benefited from last season because I sent out a poll on a Monday or Tuesday, gathering responses by Thursday with people's ideas on transfer plans and captaincy, and locked in those moves on Thursday without being too influenced by FOMO that we see coming in at the end of the week. I feel like sometimes as a content creator, it is quite difficult to be in a position where you don't overthink things. But I always find that when I make a video at the start of the week saying I'm going to make these transfers, I'm going to make this captaincy decision, I do find that I change my mind a lot less because I've pinned my colours to the mast early on in the week. And it's generally that gut feeling, that first idea of what you think should be the right moves for your team that's often the best, but sometimes the external noise that we see from social media clouds our judgment and we end up making a more complicated decision that isn't always the right decision. Tip number 4 comes in from FPL Bluebird, and it's about the balance of form versus fixtures. And this is one that particularly jumped out to me because I have planned a brand new series on the channel this season doing exactly that. Now, FPL Bluebird had this to say: don't chase last week's points. If a player produced a haul, it is rare for them to repeat the feat in the following game. Instead, focus on those players who have shown glimpses of form and are about to embark on a favourable run of fixtures. Try to get one step ahead of your competitors can be very beneficial. Now, this is the most important thing because you see, we get these bandwagons in FPL, but by the time 500,000, a million people are buying them that game week, they're no longer a differential. You haven't got on there early. So it's about, instead of looking at who scored the most points in the previous week, it's delving into those underlying numbers. Who's showing glimmers of form, who's got good underlying numbers for shots on target and XG. If they're a creative player, maybe they're making a lot of chances, they're on a lot of set pieces. If they've got good fixtures coming up, that's the perfect combination to jump onto players. Now, I do value form myself a little bit above fixtures, but it's definitely that combination and being able to be on a player before they become a bandwagon, which can have a big impact on your success in FPL. Now, the final bit of advice is regarding competition, and this comes in from Ash from the FPL Juice Show. Make sure you subscribe to them because they produce a fantastic live studio show every Tuesday. It really is great. They're criminally undersubscribed, but they're hoping to hit 10k this season, which I'm sure they will do. And Ash comes up with this simple one: pick one mini league to focus on, otherwise it gets overwhelming. And this is quite good, this one, because in terms of FPL, we tend to track our success based on the mini league success, but you need to choose which one you really want to win and have a look at what your rivals are doing and keep a close eye on that and try and make your moves reactive at times to what they're doing. Who's the differentials? Who does nobody else own that's going to give you that big advantage? And that does lead me nicely on to Fantasy Football Hub's pre-season offering, because that big offer is back. If you win your mini league with Fantasy Football Hub, you will get your money back on your subscription, which has got 50% off. This offer is on all the way to game week 1. If you are interested in checking out Fantasy Football Hub to make you a better fantasy manager and win your mini league, check out the link in the description to this video. Let me know in the comments then what you think to the Expert series returning. Make sure you've dropped a like. We're aiming for 500 likes on this one, and make sure you're subscribed as well, because soon I'll have another video dropping from the Experts, looking at their player shortlist, summarising all of their selections in their very first game week 1 drafts. You do not want to miss it. Thank you for watching.